We're going to take a look at Let Me Explain. Brightburn is a sequel. I've seen Brightburn, I didn't really like it, but let's see what Let Me Explain thinks. And here we go.
Listen, James Gunn has 3 cinematic
I thought that was a woman.
universes going on right now. Like, he's got his own Marvel franchise. You know, at one point he didn't, but now he does again. They're trusting him at DC with Suicide Squad so much that they're pretending
Hey, was that Batman?
like the previous one didn't even happen as they recast half of it. And now he's got his own little universe that's the reverse of the other two. That to me is super impressive, but what stands out even
This is so Smallville. That's why I didn't like Brightburn. It's so Smallville. It's trying to be Smallville, but it's not.
more to me is how tight-knit he makes his sets. His buddy is the director of this movie.
And this symbol right here, what is this? It's BB, but it looks like the brand of sacrifice. If you ever read Berserk, you would know what I mean. It looks like the brand of sacrifice.
His cousin Mark and brother Brian wrote the script. They filmed it in secret and intended to reveal it at San Diego Comic-Con and then drop it in November right away before, Disney bit the bait from a troll. Movie then got delayed from November 2018 to May 2019, which if you don't
Oh, look at that. It's Snow Bunny reading somebody's journal. Stop it, Snow Bunny.
think release dates matter, let me tell you, I go to a lot of winter film festivals where the movies are getting praised, and then by the time that they get their summer release, they're torn to shreds. Sometimes it has to do with, the producers changing stuff in the movie.
See, that looks like the brand of sacrifice. If you're a Berserk fan, you would know what that looks like. It looks like the brand of sacrifice. Just a rip off of it. I mean, it looks like a brand of sacrifice, but a ripoff, a corny one, a very disgusting one. Looks like a child did it.
Other times it has to do with the climate of movies and what people are looking for. Because I was reading the summary of Rotten Tomatoes and I'm like, I don't know. I think the trailer did show you exactly what they were going to give you. To others, they are upset that it does feel like Man of Steel gone wrong.
Man, Zack Snyder's MOS was so...
Look at that. It's Snow Bunny and... I don't know this dude. Who's this dude right here? Whose glasses here?
dark. James Gunn.
Hold my beer, Zack Snyder. I really am a big fan of Zack's Man of Steel, and Zack and I have been friends for a long time.
It's just funny to me because Snyder fans are something else. I'm sorry, like they are yelling at someone who's friends with the person they look
Get
up
off
to.
my
No
screen,
one told them
weird
to
kid.
yell at the person they're yelling at.
What the frick are you guys doing? Asking for all this frickin' garbage!
Either way,
Get
the
off my
tone does
screen.
vary a bit, but I still think it's faithful to its trailer. I still hope that they set up this reverse Justice League that they have planned.
Andale, look at Gal Gadot. Looking pretty good there. Look at her. Looking good. She's looking pretty good there. Look at her. I'll taste her apple if you know what I mean.
And I definitely find it interesting that technically this can be considered a sequel to another Gunn movie named Super. Let me explain. So obviously this is playing on the what if Superman were Damien from The Omen. You have a family living in Brightburn, Kansas who I believe had trouble having children, so what a miracle it is that a spaceship lands in their backyard in 2006 containing a beautiful baby boy. All the same Messiah, Immaculate Conception metaphors are there, but with a darker twist, because this kid is weird. By the time he's hitting puberty, the parents are fully aware that there's something up with him because this boy's never bled in his life.
Do you bleed?
No.
I do bleed. All the time.
No, he does not. Now that he's hitting puberty, he's starting to notice all these different abilities. He's touching the lawnmower blades at full speed for some...
See right there, that is Smallville. If you ever seen Smallville, the first episode does the exact same thing.
some reason. He's chewing forks without even knowing. Imagine any angsty white 12-year-old kid out there who breaks his controller playing Fortnite. Imagine what he would do with his tantrums if he had superpowers, right? Superpowers. One tantrum and we're all screwed. Now, while I did have fun with this movie, I agree with the criticisms that the director himself even talked about, with the tone kind of varying a lot. The powers make for great horror set pieces, but then it'll cut to a scene that's a lot funnier than you expect it to be. But the biggest factor to me is the idea.
Now, I think this kid right here, who's supposed to be, I think, Superman, is possessed. Send him back to space.
Of what makes Brandon evil, because we've seen various incarnations from DC themselves. There's Red Sun that does a great job of exploring an alternate Superman if he had landed in Soviet Russia. You know, he accepts Superman's symbolism because he's wearing our colors, he's fighting for us, but switch the setting and his morals now seem like propaganda. Smallville, of course, was all about nature versus nurture, and I was...
Heck yeah, that's a great show. You should go see that show rather than Brightburn. That's a great show.
His parents shaped him. Man of Steel makes those same type of decisions, but just a little bit more angstier. And BVS also has the Batman side of things, where it assumed that we had all read Death of the Family, and we're supposed to already know how heartbroken Batman was supposed to be. Even though I do feel they should have shown us the movie where Batman's heart got broken. But
I'm heartbroken. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm heartbroken. Oh, I'm Batman. Oh, look. The woman has no eye. My goodness, Batman has no eyes. Where is she?
Brightburn is different because he's just evil. There isn't really a shift or an event that caused him to turn this way. Like, it did not matter how great these teens' parenting was because they just threw that psychology out the window. He's evil just because that's the way he is. And I assume all of the other beings mentioned within the post-credit scenes of this movie are supposed to be that way because their alien origins say so. That ship that the parents hid in the barn starts speaking to him now that he's hit puberty, and in a sense is controlling him. It's become his sort of beehive. And I think that's an interesting angle because if you really look at his costume...
Okay, that looks pretty cool.
I mean, this thing's based off of a wasp. They purposefully even have a lesson at school where they're talking about wasps. His sound effects as he zips away is like a wasp buzz. So this insect metaphor definitely seems to be on purpose.
It's not an S. On my world, it means hope.
The irony in there being no hope for Brandon with this one. Anyways, Miles Teller Jr. over here gets caught when his mom finds human anatomy diagrams within his porn stash. Amateur. Dad then gives the worst.
Andale, man, let me chew. Let your boy chew on his fork. Come on, Cracker Jack.
To talk about the birds and the bees to this wasp and encourages him to give into his urges from time to time, which, okay, one, if you're a father out there, listen up.
There's Snow Bunny. She was like, you were shooting blanks, man. You were shooting blanks, so we gotta kidnap this child from another planet.
You gotta be blunt. Don't let any leeway go through. Number two, we're talking again about a boy who had human anatomy diagrams in his porn stash. He then sneaks into his classmate's room because he's following his dad's advice, and because he's never seen one Alpha M video in his entire life, he thinks you're supposed to crush your crush's arm, and the mom defends Brandon from all of this buffoonery. See, if there's one thing that I learned from this movie is that my wife and I, when we have kids, we better listen to each other and never choose the kid over us. If I tell her, if I wake up one morning and I say, yo, this kid is Damien 2.0 without a...
Come on, you gotta feed your kids.
With 100% certainty, she better pull out the receipt because we're taking him back. No questions. Of course, Tori is ignorant to all the signs and decides to drop a bombshell on Brandon, telling him that his entire existence is a lie and that he came from space. And while a regular kid would be grateful that two strangers protected him, Brandon feels like his fabric of reality has been shredded and decides to shred everyone else.
I'm Batman. I would like a Dr. Pepper and some noodles.
This is why I say never lie to your kids, you know? Imagine telling a kid that Santa isn't real and you had no idea they had superpowers and all of a sudden he throws you up the chimney instead. What's easily the most gruesome scene is the diner one because as a person who wears contacts myself, I hated the eye scene. He's trying to get back at his crush's mom because she tried, snitching on him and getting him in trouble for hurting her daughter, and judging by his speed and strength, this lady was donezo the moment she clocked in. Kid's a little sloppy though and decides to leave behind his logo like all over the place, and I was just laughing because his logo looks like an edgier version of the S. You know, the S that we were all drawing in middle school. But I'm telling you, he leaves his card at every crime scene. It also doesn't help that his aunt is a counselor at his school and is now all up in his business. For starters, according to my school, counselors didn't do anything. Like, I have never seen a counselor help a regular kid.
I remember I had a crush on my school counselor. What was her name? Miss Garcia. Yeah, that was her name. Yeah, I had a huge crush on her. Anyway, back to the show.
So how the hell is a counselor gonna help a super-powered alien who's going through puberty in the midst of feeling betrayed and alone? They ain't. Bloodhound Brandon must have watched Goodfellas because he decides to pay his aunt a visit at her house, letting her know that snitches get stitches, and then proceeds to kill his uncle because he was gonna do just that. And that jaw scene was crazy. At this point, the dad is angrier than when he lost Pam Beasley and decides to take his kid out hunting and shoot him
Cracker Jack, let your son eat that.
in the skull.
You have bullet immunity!
I'm bulletproof. You're dead.
And he's donezo. The police then confront the mom about the symbol, considering that the initials are BB, Brandon Breyer, and the mom just goes straight for the shredder. She literally doesn't get that her child is maniacal until he's ruining the drywall in her kitchen. Then she remembers,
Come on, Snow Bunny, you had all this time to know your son's a lunatic. But you know snow bunnies.
that the hidden ship in the deck was the only thing that's ever caught him recently, and magically she's able to outrun a superhuman to the barn, grabs a shark to take him out, and goes in with the longest
Snow Bunny's not that great looking.
wind up I have ever seen. It was so long, she died. Ma'am, this is not the Night King. It's evil Superman. Y'all have heard me bash slaps with how long those windups are. That, they take forever. You can literally go brew Kona coffee, come back, still have time to duck. I'm telling you, this lady, I get that it's her kid, but she was moving at 0.2 speed against a superpowered teenager. Of course he was going to kill you. Brandon has now fully broken bad, and just like their season 2, he sets up a plane crash, making it look like he's the only survivor. All the evidence is gone, and the only person who knows anything about his little secret is Yondu. For those who don't know, Brian Gunn and Michael Rooker tend to be in almost like every Gunn production, again because of how tight-knit they are, and here he shows up in the credits playing a conspirator named Big T who claims to know about a league of superpowered people. He mentions a half-man, which I guess can be an evil bat or robot. He talks about a half-sea monster, which is clearly evil Aquaman, a woman choking people with rope.
That was a nice scene. I'm gonna salute.
Sea monster, which is clearly evil Aquaman, a woman choking people.
That's a great scene right there. Look at that scene. All right.
With rope like a villain is Wonder Woman, but then he also shows a picture of Dwight Schrute himself as the character the Crimson Bolt that he played in James Gunn's film Super. Again, it could just be an Easter egg, but if you haven't seen Super, which is on Hulu, and just be warned, it's very vulgar, I think it's interesting because the connection goes beyond the producer. Super is a story about a guy who wants to get his girlfriend back because she left him, but while he's trying to become a superhero, he tends to also have a lot of violent outbursts and desires, like someone else who we know. So maybe instead of it being like Split, where David Dunn shows up to fight, he ends up being someone who joins the rest of this evil league as maybe the evil Batman character. Super has a similar bloody comedic tone like Brightburn, just with a lower budget, so it's not too far off to consider them in the same universe.
Is this movie any good? Super? Has anybody ever seen Super? Leave a comment down below and tell me, should I watch it? And tell me.
Thus making Brightburn a sequel. But in terms of the Brightburn sequel, there's actually even more to that. There was in fact another alternate ending that had to be cut that was supposed to set up Brightburn 2, where Brandon's crush Caitlin wakes up in a lab, angry with a robo-arm on, ready to take revenge on the boy who ruined her life. So I don't know if they're gonna make that, but I would definitely come back for round 2. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below.
All right, that was Brightburn is a sequel. Let me explain. Well, if you've seen Brightburn, tell me in the comments down below and tell me what you thought. Until we meet again, my fellow strugglers.